Hi aspirants, welcome back to our weekly current affairs for polity and international relations. For this week, the first topic is going to be Indian Penal Code 124. This is in context because of the recent issues relating to this defamation cases. In particular, in the Kedarnath Singh case, the Supreme Court has upheld the validity of the sedition law while attempting to restrict its scope for misuse. So they are reducing the scope. The court has held that unless accompanied by incitement or a call for violence, criticism of the government cannot be construed as a seditious offense. So this case tells unless there is violence or incitement of violence, criticizing the government cannot be called as sedition. The one information to be known here is the Kedarnath case. What does Kedarnath case talk about? Because we know when there is a case, UPSC is known to ask such questions. A small information, that's it. And sedition comes under 124 of IPC. The next second topic is about public health and management cadre. So from the word cadre, you can understand cadre is a group of people specially trained for something. That is what we know, right? For example, even the NCC is a cadre. Now, in April 2022, the central government released a guidance document on setting up a public health and management cadre. So they now want to set something like this, and also a revised edition of the Indian Public Health Standard. Indian Public Health Standard. This is to ensure quality healthcare in government hospitals and government facilities. This is particularly for government hospitals. This is what you have to know here. Now, the public health and management cadre, actually it is a follow-up of the recommendations which was already made in India's National Health Policy of 2017. Now at present, most Indian states, with exception of certain states such as Tamil Nadu and Odisha, they have a teaching cadre and a specialized cadre of doctors for clinical services. So we have two cadres. One is the teaching cadre and the second one as a specialized cadre. So what is this teaching cadre and specialist cadre? Two cadres are here. Now, because we have such two cadres, this structure, it does not provide similar career progression opportunities for professionals trained in public health. Let us say you go for a job, you don't have proper progression in your job opportunities. Will you like that job? You will try to come out of that job. That is what is happening here. Now this is one of the reasons for limited interest by healthcare professionals to opt for public health as a career choice. So they don't want to have this public health as their profession because they think it is not going to give good improvement in their professional life. So this two-way, that is having a teaching cadre and another one as a special cadre, is one reason for that. Now, why there is limited interest in public health care from professional side? That is because of various reasons, and one reason we saw here. Now, this proposed public health cadre and the health management cadre have the potential to address some of these challenges. See here, with the release of guidance documents, the states have been advised to formulate something called as an action plan to identify the cadre strength and fill up the vacant posts in the next 6 months to 1 year. So within 6 months to 1 year, they have to fill up the vacant post for this health cadre. That is particularly public health workforce. This public health workforce, it has a role even beyond epidemics and pandemics. Why do we talk about pandemics and epidemics here? Is because during this COVID-19 pandemic, that is when we realized the need and importance of this public health workforce. A trained public health workforce, it ensures that people receive holistic health care of preventive and promotive services. The key here is holistic health care and overall health care. Now, in the 15 years since the first release of this IPHS, only a small proportion, that is around 15 to 20 percentage of government healthcare facilities, they actually meet this standards. They don't, the other portion, they don't meet even this standards. Now, what are the Indian public health standards? That is, what is IPHS? IPHS, it is a set of uniform standards envisaged to improve the quality of healthcare delivery in the country. A set of rules to make sure that quality healthcare is given to the country. Now, flexibility is allowed to suit the diverse needs of states and regions. So here there is flexibility for those particular regions and states. It's not a single central governmental rule. This IPHS guidelines act as the main driver for continuous improvement in quality, and they also serve as the benchmark for assessing the functional status of health facilities. A simple protocol for the health facilities, particularly the government health facilities in the country. Now, what can be the way forward? What can we do? The 15th Finance Commission, it has granted a 5-year period, that is from 2021 to 26. It has granted this time. And apart from this, we also have the Pradhan Mantri Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission. Simply, it can be called as Pradhan Mantri ABEAM or Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission. Here, allocations are available for strengthening the public health services, and it could be used as a catalytic funding. So, the funds from these two things, that is the 15th Finance Commission and the PM ABEAM, the funds can be used for this public health and management cadre. Now, recent times it has become clear that epidemic and pandemic, they require specialized skills in a broad range of subjects such as epidemiology, biostatistics, health management, disease modeling, and many more. So you need specialized people in these strategic areas. Now, in the absence of trained public health professionals at a policy and decision making level, India's pandemic response ended up becoming bureaucratic steered and clinician led. So here it has been divided into two ways. So during this pandemic, we saw that it was steered by the bureaucrat and it was led by the clinician, because the clinician don't know the bureaucratic jobs. A bureaucrat is not a doctor to do about the clinician job. So they both are different. So there were two different group of people working on a single pandemic, and this proved not to be a great idea. Now, every struggle in the pandemic response was a reminder that a clinician, no matter how skilled in the art of treating a patient, or a bureaucrat, no matter how experienced in administration, could not fulfill the role of the epidemiologist and public health specialist. So, a normal clinician, a normal doctor, or the bureaucrat on the other side, they are not enough in the situation of a pandemic. There are need of a special people for this, who are sometimes called as epidemiologists. Like we have biologists, these are epidemiologists, and someone called as public health specialist. So these postings are really necessary and they have to be filled very soon. That is what this whole topic is talking about. Now, these people, these public health specialists, they are specially trained to make a decision when there is limited information about a pathogen and its behavior. So, when a new pathogen is there, experienced doctors or bureaucrats, they already know about the existing problems. When there is a new pathogen, no particular information is available for that. In that case, these epidemiologists and public health specialists are needed to tackle such issues. That is what this topic is trying to talk about. Next, we will see a topic on international affairs. This is about the Indo-Pacific economic framework that happened very recently. This Indo-Pacific economic framework, actually it was announced in 2021. This year is important. UPSC has asked such questions regarding to international relations and international organizations. They asked the starting year. This announcement was to actually set regional standards for cooperation. One important information is it includes ASEAN countries. This Indo-Pacific economic framework, it includes also the ASEAN countries, the 10 ASEAN countries. Now, the idea of this, the aim of this is simply to decouple from the Chinese market by leading them to the alternate supply chains. All these Indo-Pacific countries, they are trying to lead themselves to an alternative supply chain, because most of the supply chain in this Indo-Pacific region is depending on China right now. The Indo-Pacific economic framework will not include market access commitments such as low tariff barriers or anything, because this agreement is simply an administrative agreement. This is again an important point to be noted, because whenever there is any such framework, questions are asked such as whether it is a defense framework or it is an economic framework and so on. This Indo-Pacific economic framework, as of now, it is just an administrative agreement. And then this Indo-Pacific economic framework, it has 4 pillars of work. They are fair and resilient trade, supply chain resilience, infrastructure, clean energy and decarbonization, tax and anti-corruption. These are really to be known, because in such questions, statement questions are asked in such particular topics, because so these 4 pillars are to be known. Now let us see the relation between this Indo-Pacific economic framework and India. Now let us see the relationship between Indo-Pacific economic framework and India. India is currently just studying the benefits of participation. Whether to join or not, it has not yet decided. But some areas proposed in this IPEF do not appear to save India's interests. For example, the IPEF talks about digital governance, but the IPEF formulation contains issues that directly conflict with India's stated position, some of which are: now India is prohibiting or restricting on cross-border data flows. This we have discussed many times in current affairs. India is restricting cross-border data flows. It wants data of Indian citizens to be kept within India. And about data localization requirements, and it also includes financial services as well. And moreover, the prohibition of levying of custom duties on digital products and distributed electronically, and the promotion of interoperability of privacy rules and related enforcement regimes. All these 3 things are in conflict with the IPEF, because IPEF also talks about something called as digital governance. And something related to this, why India could join this, or India could join after removing all these obstacles. It's because of this Quad. Participation in Quad is existing, and now something similar called as IPEF is made. It might sound good for India to join here. Now let us see some details about the Quad. This Quad, also called as the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, it is an informal strategic dialogue, and this one also, it is not an economic dialogue. It is not an economic dialogue, it is just a strategic dialogue. And as we know, it is between USA, Japan, Australia and India. And they have the shared objective of ensuring and supporting a free, open and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. And it started in 2017. And now in 2021, Quad countries issued something called as Spirit of Quad, a joint statement to promote a free, open rules border rooted in international law to advance security and combat threats both in the Indo-Pacific and beyond. This Spirit of Quad, it actually started some issues with China because so far Quad is considered simply as a strategic partnership. It is not a defense partnership. But this Spirit of Quad seems to enhance or take this Quad to the next step of a defense partnership, which China does not like, and they are already blaming against this. We have to wait and see whether Quad is going to move to the next step of being a defense strategic grouping, because China is saying that Quad is similar to NATO in the Indo-Pacific region. But we have to wait and see what happens on this. That's it for today. Jai Hind. Thank you.